Welcome back, guys, to the Bitcoin Escape. Today, I want to talk about the 5 properties of money and how Bitcoin is absolutely perfecting them. First of all, we have scarcity. Without scarcity, money doesn't work at all. Imagine we would use sand as money. You can just go and collect it yourself, right? You can just go to the beach and fill up a few buckets and then use it to exchange it for something. Nobody is going to take your sand. It's not valuable, right? It's extremely abundant. You can just, for almost no cost, collect it everywhere. This is why money needs to be scarce. Bitcoin is absolutely scarce, right? There is nothing like it. It's absolutely scarce in terms of there's going to be 21 million and not more. It's open source. You can verify that yourself. It's very simple code. You can go online into the meme pool. I'm going to link that down below. This is the main Bitcoin dashboard of the Bitcoin blockchain. Super interesting to go through and see and check out all the metrics and verify that. So yeah, Bitcoin 21 million, never more. This is why Bitcoin perfects that in the best way possible. The second one is recognizability. Obviously, you want to recognize the money which is commonly used in the economy, right? It would be terrible if you can't really recognize if it's the real thing or not. This is why we want to check gold coins before we actually accept them as a barter trade or whatever, because you don't know if it's real, right? You can drop it. That's where the term sound money is coming from. And maybe you can hear if it's real gold or not, but most likely you won't be able to identify that without having a very close inspection or like a device even to make sure the gold coin is real and it's made out of real gold. While Bitcoin, simply when Bitcoin hits your wallet, you know exactly that it's real Bitcoin. There is no faking of it, not at all. It doesn't work. It's either real Bitcoin or your wallet wouldn't accept it because it's simply not the same code. This is why Bitcoin is perfecting the recognizability. Super cool. Divisibility. Okay, so divisibility is super important because you want to buy a house with the same money as you want to buy a coffee, right? So money needs to be divisible in smaller units. This is why we have dollars and cents. This is why we have nickels and dimes, right? And quarters and whatnot. Now, these days, electronic money, you can divide, it's simply math, right? You can divide it into numbers. This is super important. But also it gets harder and harder. Gold, if people use gold as money, or what we did over the last 500 years, up until around 100 years ago, that's really difficult because you have to, if you want to buy a really small good or service, you have to shave off little gold flakes from your coin. It's simply super impractical, and it doesn't really work, right? It's super complicated, super inefficient. Obviously, you can see Bitcoin you can divide by 100 million pieces. The smallest unit of a Bitcoin is called Satoshi. And even if Bitcoin would become so valuable that this wouldn't be enough, then you can divide a Satoshi again into a mini Satoshi or a micro Satoshi. You would just have to soft fork Bitcoin, right? And agree and get everybody on the network to agree that we're going to do this, simply because Bitcoin is so valuable that a coffee would be one Satoshi would be too much, for example, to buy a Satoshi. The free market is going to decide that over time, and this is why Bitcoin is perfecting the divisibility, because it's simply based on mathematics, right? It's simply just math. Portability. This is a very cool one. It's extremely hard to transport money if you've ever tried to take cash with you through the airport. I live in Australia. But I'm actually German by origin, so I'm going home usually once a year for a couple of weeks. And when you're trying to take money, it never works. If you take cash, try to take $100,000 worth of cash through the airport, you would be simply stopped by the border control, and the suspicion is probably in that you're a criminal. It's actually insane because it's private property and you should be able to take it wherever you want, but it simply doesn't work. Gold is extremely hard to transport. Imagine you want to send $10 million worth of gold. Now, I'm not saying that, this is everybody has a $10 million and wants to make $10 million transactions, but imagine you have, like, let's say a bigger corporation or a bigger company wants to make a $100 million transaction or a $10 million transaction. And in gold, right, you would have to, let's say the vendor is in Japan and you're sitting in Australia. Now, how are you going to get the gold to Japan, right? You have to fly it in a private jet. You have to hire security guards with guns. It costs you like $250,000 to transport your gold to Japan. So that's absolutely crazy. With Bitcoin, I can transport it in 10 minutes over the internet, with the speed of light, with instant settlement, wherever I want in the world, right? I can send $100 billion, let's say, for, I don't know, $5. It's absolutely crazy. So it perfects portability. Absolutely stunning, right? Isn't that true? Durability is the last one. Obviously, money needs to be very durable. Otherwise, it can't be functioning as a store of value, right? We simply don't use cherries or apples as money because they're not very durable. They're going to rot in a couple of weeks' time. And so this is why you can't store it. Can't store your wealth in rotting things which are not durable, right? A house is also actually not a very good store of value if you think of it that way, because you have to maintain the roof, you have to maintain the walls, the plumbing, the electricity behind it as maintenance cost. Constantly over and over again every year. Entropy and chaos are simply coming along at some point and trying to destroy your house. That's also why cars are not particularly a very good store of value. And Bitcoin, you barely have any maintenance cost, right? If you learn how to store it properly and how to take care of it properly, there is zero maintenance cost. It's just a hardware wallet, and you may have some custodian, some third-party custodian you involve into your Bitcoin setup, but apart from that, there is no maintenance cost, and it's ultimately durable forever, right? As long as there's internet, electricity, Bitcoin will run, right? There is no question about that. You would have to shut down the internet and electricity forever in the world to shut down the Bitcoin network. That's why it's ultimately durable forever, right? Like the life of Bitcoin is basically forever, as long as we have the internet and electricity. And even if the internet would, get turned off, let's call it, for one day, the Bitcoin network simply would just go on standby mode and just come back alive after the blackout is gone. So these are the 5 properties of money and how Bitcoin is perfecting it. Let me know in the comments down below what you think. If you think that Bitcoin is perfect money, same as I do. And let me know if you own Bitcoin. And thank you very much for listening. I'll see you next time.